All righty. Let's go check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. All righty. Yeah, I don't expect too many people to be here. We'll hang out for a minute. And if nobody shows, it's only got one watching. So that's just me. So hang out for a minute and then we'll bounce. Brian, Will, what's going on? This is at the last second, so I don't expect too many people to be here. Simeon, what's going on? The Legacy, what's going on? Brian, Will, what's up? Prince, Bruce. Yeah, it's only going to be here for a little while. So I got some. Sheed, what's going on, man? Seems like it seems like the table's getting hot, man. I was listening to some things from the breakdown. Agree? Oh, from Qatar. Okay, from Qatar. Okay. Hope you're over there working, making some money. Savant, what's going on? Ash, what's going on? Indigo, what's going on? Marty, what's up? So yeah, this is just a AMA, man. And I know I put up some things about stepdaddy and politics. And some guys took offense to it, but it's like, okay, number one is off the cuff. Number two, it was a joke. Okay, it was a joke. Well, some parts was true. Okay, because we do absolutely make the best stepfathers on the planet. We do. Okay, that's the fact, and I'm not going to be ashamed of it. Right? We black men should be the best at everything they do if they can, whether it's husband, stepfather, leader, politician, athlete, lover, whatever. Student, CEO, billionaire. Black men should be the best at whatever they do, and they should be demand in whatever they do. So I don't take offense to the stepfather comment. So that part is true. The other part, even though it's a joke, I meant it. If, and people always miss the if. Oh, BGS, you telling us to be stepfathers. I ain't tell you to do shit. Okay. I've never told you to do shit. The only thing I ever told you is read a book and be better. I never told you to do shit. In fact, I told you that that I don't blame young men for not being stepfathers because they get bad deals. Okay. But if you're going to indulge on it and you're going to listen to somebody like Umar and you're going to take on a charge, get your best deal. Stop being wedded to women that do not serve you. Okay. It's the only thing I said. And guess what? The first person to agree with me was who Pimp got. He said, yeah. He said, it's part of a relationship has to be transactional. Okay. What's in your best interest? Don't listen to her what's in the child's best interest because if she thought about what's in her child's best interest, she'd have picked a better father. Number one, picked a better father. Okay. Number two, do everything she could to stay with the father and keep the family intact. If she really thought about the child's best interest. So you getting shamed and to saying that what about the children? Well, the child has a mother and father. And the state is very good about making sure that the mother and father take care of their child. So you being shamed about what about the children? No, basically, unless you love that, if you love that child and you take a special liking to that child, that's what I always say. If you don't take a special liking to that child, don't become a stepfather. Don't become a stepdaddy because you're building a relationship with the child outside of the mother. Don't pick the mother just because you like her and that is the issue that comes with her. It's the wrong reason to be a stepfather. Yeah, the union of step simps. Okay. If you're gonna be a simp, be a good one, right? Right? If you're gonna be a simp, be a good one. In fact, you are the first victim. You can tell cats that don't get them, don't deal with women. I always tell them because they don't know what I'm talking about. Ghost, what's going on? Have you heard the talk from the Banisher's favorite chameleon? I don't know who's the favorite chameleon. What's the octane to be the be a stepdad for? What's the best octane to be a stepdad for? It depends on who you are. You do not want to be 87 dude and be a stepfather or married to or a 92 that's trying that's looking at you like how come you're not doing better. Depend the best octane is the octane that you are. Courtney, what is Courtney? Courtney's 89. She don't know what she is. Courtney's 89. Courtney Michelle's in 89. I don't think Courtney Michelle wants a stepfather. I think she wants help for women like her, but I don't think Courtney wants to be wants a stepdad. I really don't. She can buy the red pill to big pharma. Well, she can. Well, she can. Yeah, from her position, I can see her position because um, we have a counter narrative. Courtney Michelle we have a counter narrative to her. She wants black men to stay in their place and serve. That's what she wants. Because when you ask her what's the better deal, when you ask her what the better deal is, she can't give it to you, can she? Because I always ask. I never said that it's that you shouldn't do it, or that men shouldn't do it, or that black men shouldn't go back and so-called save the community. My thing is, okay, what's the deal? What do black men get out of it? If they're gonna do it, they're gonna put in labor and they're gonna sacrifice their lives. What do they get out of it? And if it comes back nothing, then guess what? Nothing should happen. And trust and believe. You guys heard me go through this many a time. I don't know what kind of stuff you're on. And Super Saiyan, a black saying, that link is for you, sir. I know you're a troll, but that link is for you. Why are black? They're not increasing in number. They've always been there. In fact, they're decreasing in number. The only thing is about black simps is that they're speaking out more. And a lot of them cats that speak out don't practice what they preach in real life. What's up, Doc? So my thing is, we're in agreement. No, what did you say? You put union of step simps. That's okay. That's what it's there for. That's what it's there for. Well, then why you put simps? Okay, that is a derogatory. Okay, very derogatory. And guess who? The first person to agree with me is not a simp. He's actually a pimp. He said, "Yeah, if you're gonna do it, and that woman can help you, guess what? That is a good reason to do it. You're not wrong. There's the link there for you, sir. You're bullshit. That means you're talking like a beta. That's what you're talking about. You're talking like a beta. That is beta thinking. That's beta thinking. If you got a talent and the talent can get you further in life and get you a better deal, take it. Yeah, you're wrong because you're a beta. That's the way betas think. In general, modern society has done nothing but reveal what already resides there. Simply rise into the surface. It's always, yes, it's been there. Trust and believe. Uh, we are in the minority. You guys, because we're in this pocket, we think that we're the majority. We're in the minority. Okay, blue pill dominates as it should. 80% of the world is blue pill, not red pill. Now, the reason they don't like the red pill is the same reason that the Matrix didn't like the red pill because you start turning people, and if you turn enough people, uh, uh, away from blue pill thinking or ultra blue pill thinking, it's a problem. It's like Andrew Tate, is in jail. Yeah, I'm a judge of beta. You sound like a beta. You know, that's beta thinking. Don't have me go in on you. You sound like a fucking beta because the max, the pimps, and the players and the people that are on top, such as Russell Wilson, okay, they made a very conscious choice about the woman they picked and why they picked it. Had kid didn't matter. Child doesn't matter. It's the arc of your life. Child doesn't matter. Let me ask you this, saying, do you got kids? Are you married with kids? What is a sigma and where the term come? Okay, let's go down. Let's go down the list. And Bob, you can speak up anytime you want. It- it- Let me ask you this: did anybody read what is it? A Brave New World. Okay, you read a Brave New World. Did you listen to a Brave New World? Did you look at any one of the five movies or the two series of TV series about Brave New World? Did you, Ryan? Did you read it or listen to
Hey,
it?
how's it going, BGS?
Good.
Um, Sorry, I just had a quick question. So I'm one of your younger viewers. So the question I'm about to ask you might kind of sound kind of wild, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's
Just don't.
mostly
You don't have to dress it up. Just get to it.
so it's about the political situation in America right now. You know how there's like a pendulum. Seems like there's a swing towards the right now. Um,
Okay. Okay.
and
Okay. How do you define the right?
Kind of neoliberal, kind of like a return to the
You
1980s.
no, you neoliberal has been you get it's not a swing to a right. Neoliberalism has been with you since 1980. It hasn't changed.
Mhm. I guess, like for example, with things like overturning affirmative action and the all
Ah,
the
that's anti-neoliberal,
okay.
and they're over to there's nothing lasts forever. Okay, nothing lasts
Mhm,
forever. Okay, and okay, if that's what you mean towards the right, which is a reactionary, going back toward a
mhm,
steadfast, old-fashioned liberal, not liberal. Liberalism actually put most of those things in place. Okay, affirmative
yeah.
action, no fault divorce, all that kind of stuff, all the feminist laws. That's all under neoliberalism. Okay, the post 1972. Okay,
Yeah.
the old socialist FDR socialist model failed in 1972. They had to replace it with something. And
Mhm.
neoliberalism is that thing they replaced it with. So,
I
so
guess
go ahead.
my main question was so with affirmative action being overturned, they're looking at implementing this stuff in the work workplace. I guess they're now going after like DEI offices and like just for diversity hiring programs in corporate America, stuff like that. How do you think that's gonna affect black men
we,
being hired in general?
we, we don't know. We don't know. Hopefully it's limited. Hopefully
Okay.
that what they said in being limited is true. The thing is when laws and rules like this pass, yeah, what is the reaction to them? Okay, what other lawsuits? Because even though Supreme Court points out a direction, it doesn't mean that it's actually going to go that far because they also did the Bakke decision, right, back in '77, basically limiting affirmative action, right? But it still lived for another, what, almost 50 years. So is it limited? How far does it go? Will it affect the workplace? I kind of have a feeling that it will. One, you got economic pressures, you got currency pressures, you got artificial intelligence and automation coming in, which is pressure, lessening the jobs. Whose jobs do you protect?
Yeah, I guess my because like I was looking at all these factors. So there's that. Then there's also the demographic change with I guess well Latinos were already a large percentage, but now it's like I would say they're like 30% of America maybe. But so you have that, and then You also have
Hold on. Let me just address this. Man, shut up, coward. I'm working right now. Everybody's always working right now. You're just a coward, man. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You got time to type. Just a coward. Stop. Stop with that bullshit. I'm working, man. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I was saying, so you have the whole thing with the workplace, and you have
No,
the demographic change. So I'm seeing all these forces come together, and
yeah.
it's looking kind of scary for Black America. So I was just wondering what your
Man, It's it,
projections
it-
are.
it's scary for all America, right? And guess who's the black jelly beans at the bottom of the jar is? It's you, right? Demographics, politics, demographics, economics, okay, military, standard of living, all that automation, all that stuff is happening all at once, right? And who's most vulnerable? It's you. And I said this years ago. I said, if you don't fight for this stuff, if you don't stand in and fight for this, actively fight for this stuff, they could take it away. Now, what are you guys doing to protect it? I mean, you just gonna let it happen, or you gonna protest? You're gonna vote? You're gonna get out there and write your congressman? What are you gonna do? You're gonna go to your state legislature. What are you gonna do? What you guys gonna do?
Yeah, I see people like gender wars, all this stuff. While all this stuff
Yeah,
is
yeah,
happening,
I
it's
know.
crazy.
Say, but thing that is not the majority of people, right? The thing is that this affects 100% of everybody, right? 100% of all black men, right? And basically, uh, are you guys gonna do sit-ins? Are you guys gonna do marches? You guys gonna do protests? You gonna write in? You gonna do Twitter campaign? What y'all gonna do?
It's funny, we were talking about that on Twitter, and it's like my generation. We I don't think we have the heart for that, to be honest.
So you guys gonna sit back and let it happen?
Not me, but just
I
from
mean, as a
the
group, as a group. I don't know
yeah, as a
about you
group.
individually.
I
Okay,
think I
yeah,
feel like our approach is more like just letting this stuff happen because I guess you
okay,
know it
okay,
is is what it is.
okay.
It's kind of weird,
Because
but
my generation did not do that, man. We sat in, we fought, we protested, we started unions, started organizations, all that kind of stuff, man. We're just curious, man. Because guess what? Mommy and daddy are too old. They can't do it for you.
yeah, that's
Mommy and daddy can't sit out there protest to put their bodies online like they used to. We're not young, okay? So
yeah.
mommy and daddy cannot fix this. What are you guys gonna do? You guys are adults.
There was an attempt in 2020, but it got co-opted and like
And
retwisted.
what happened in 2020?
So after the Ferguson protest kind of culminated into the George Floyd protests, some people
Hmm.
try to go after like prison abolition, but the whole thing was co-opted into like other things like LGBTQ or I don't know how to describe it, but it was co-opted by Patrice Cullors,
No,
Opal
no, but
Tometi.
it's co-opted by BLM and George Soros. Okay, and guess who let it happen?
We did, truthfully.
You
Yeah,
let it happen.
yeah.
So like I'm not saying that I'm not I'm not really saying making a judgment about who you guys are, what kind of generation you guys are, and I've been saying it that because you guys this is my feeling because I got millennial children, right? You guys assume that it's always going to be this way, and I've always heard that the civil rights were a mistake. Civil rights didn't do anything or didn't do enough or whatever it is, right? And you guys don't really realize exactly how much you actually have. So, until it gets ready to get taken away. And my thing is, and I guess for this point, you guys don't really value it. So you guys going to get the world that you want. Okay, you're gonna get the world without all this civil rights stuff. So I hope it works out for you because guess what? Boomers cannot go back in time and do and fix this for you anymore, right? We can't. Boomers have been around a long time because I know a lot of boomers and silent generation and some Xers, right? Still in the pits, like Claude Anderson, still in the pits trying to fight this stuff out. And at some point, you guys got to take up the mantle, and I don't know
Mm.
when that is. So, and my thing now, man, in my 60s, man, if you guys want to, this is the world that you guys want, and you guys trust that it's going to work out for you, say God bless you. I said if you guys don't, evidently you guys just rolled over and let it happen, so you guys are cool with it. That's what I'm feeling.
from your past shows, like when you were talking about how it's going to be a more mixed society, do you
Hmm.
think because it seemed like from hearing you talk, it was like I guess you were thinking that's gonna not be as bad, except you're just gonna have a
No,
mixed
no, no,
society.
no, no. I'm saying is this. You got to listen to what I'm saying, right? Because in the context of when I say it, right, a lot of people, a lot of black people think there's going to be a forever black community, right? It's just the way it has been. What I'm saying is, if you don't do something, and especially toward the women, if you don't do something, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get integrated and admixed. Is that what you want? Because that's
That's
the way it's headed.
yeah, that was inevitable. Like we're heading towards the Brazil, basically, right?
Okay, how does it work out for the black Brazilians?
Pretty bad. They're like mixed, but like the in favelas and like yeah, it's pretty bad over there.
So in other words, I hope it works out because that's the way they're pushing you. And I don't have a judgment about um, I don't have a judgment about how it's going to happen because it is a natural process. But I keep
Hmm.
hearing people say, "I want a black community." So what are you doing to actually keep one?
Yeah,
It has to be intentional. It's not before white people kept a black community because they didn't want you to mix in with them. Okay, now that's not possible. They're actually pushing you to mix. So you have to be intentional about keeping a black community, one that you say that you want, especially the women. You know, I was just, listening to a family thing about stuff that went on, and when I was a kid, and stuff went on with my grandmother. Was young, stuff like that, in the black community about how we treat each other. That shit's still going on. It's so embedded now. It's just automatic. So when I hear it now, I just shake my head because
yeah,
it's so automatic. But is this the community that you want, and do you want to keep it? No matter warts and all, do you want to keep it? If you want to keep it, you're gonna have to do something intentional that you keep it that way. Otherwise, it will go away. Just like affirmative action. Okay, if you don't do anything to keep it, then it will go away. Because right now you have to, instead of it being federal, you got to fight it out state by state.
yeah. I yeah, I was gonna ask about that. What states do you think? Because I feel like a lot of things are gonna get a little bit more hostile.
Hmm.
What states do you think you recommend someone to relocate to?
A
Um,
state?
yeah, like because like you hear these stories about Indiana nowadays. Like they had a senator that was like a neo-Nazi or some shit. It's getting
Uh,
very
well, neo-Nazi is not going to go very far because you have such a liberal country. So I don't think neo-Nazism and fascism cannot take hold because ultimately you have to have a dictator. Okay, ultimately you got to have a fascist. You have to have a top-down system,
mm,
and you can't even get people to wear masks during COVID. So a top-down system is not going to work in this particular environment. Okay, authoritarianism, like a Chinese authoritarianism, which is what you would have to have a fascist government, not going to work here in the United States. You're not going white people, especially no people, period, are not going to go along with it because the rights of the individual is too powerful of an ideology in the United States. Okay, you're not going to go along with it. As soon as people step on your rights or step on what you perceive your rights is, they're going to rebel.
mhm. Yeah, I saw someone in the comments. They said that who sold crack first, it was their fault. I gotta disagree. I think whichever generation that were adults during the 2000 to
Okay. Let's
that.
put it. Let's talk about crack, okay? Let's talk about fucking crack. In fact, well, brother, why don't you come up and we can talk about crack, okay? The crack is a neoliberal happenstance because if you take a kilo of cocaine that costs $50,000, you lower it to five. Guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen to proliferation of a drug?
Oh, it's gonna get worse.
Okay, it's going to get worse. Okay, so powder cocaine had been around because trust and believe I played basketball with Pablo Escobar's nephew back in 73. Okay. I think it was 73, 72, 73, right? I played with Pablo Escobar's nephew. Okay. I didn't know. He came to his allowance back in the 70s was $100 a week. I said, and my father didn't make that much money. Okay. So didn't make as much money as his allowance. So that was back in the 70s. So I know these people, right? I've seen powder and stuff like that. And when I first saw crack and I saw who's buying it, how could people afford it? How could people afford it? Okay, this is a neoliberal projection a um, onto a black community and projected at the black community. Go watch the movies, the series Snowfall. Okay, that is fairly accurate. They
Yeah.
targeted the black community
I
with
was
it.
thinking about, so you know how it was first introduced by Danilo Blandon, I think that's his name. Um,
Uh,
and there
he
it
Daniil Blandon did not introduce crack.
oh,
Okay,
okay.
Daniil Blandon was one of the agents. In fact, if you go back and look at Mena, Arkansas, okay, and people flying it in, go back there, okay. But Blandon and a bunch of others uh, were actually what did they used to call them? I forget the name of them
The
down in Nicaragua. The
Contras.
Contras in Nicaragua, right? And guess who flew the cocaine in for Blandon?
Forgot his
CIA.
name. CIA.
CIA is more than just one person. Okay, CIA flew it in. In other words, the transportation cost alone to get a kilo of cocaine from Colombia, Peru, where it was actually made, all the way to up to the United States. By the time you get through all the bribes, it's 50 grand per kilo, right? When the CIA jumped in, they dropped it from 50 grand to five. So basically 90% of the cost was actually gone. Okay. So who basically pushed crack cocaine or cocaine into the black neighborhoods? In fact,
The
in fact, who invented the process? The process of crack cocaine came out of Stanford.
oh wow, I had no idea.
Okay, who was selling the chemicals to actually grow the cocoa leaves down to Colombia and Peru?
I don't know.
Okay, and when they got tired of it, okay, with crack cocaine being so cheap, who came in and shut most of the crack era down? Because right after '89 and after the Soviet Union fell in '91, they started sending people to jail.
Hmm.
So basically, the height of the crack cocaine was maybe the '80s, the late '80s, early '90s, and then it started to ebb, started to dip. Even in Chicago with the cocaine and the drugs, but who was actually supporting the Mexican cartels pushing the stuff in?
Oh yeah, the government. That's
Government,
true.
the government and the banks. Okay,
Yeah.
so blaming a generation. Okay, so what generation actually pushed the crack era into the World War II generation? Actually, those are
Baby
people that were in
boomers.
charge, huh?
Baby boomers. Or
No, boom, no, World War II,
oh,
baby
the
boomers, no, World War II,
silence.
silence and before, right? World War
Oh
silence
wow.
and after. So all the people born in the 20s, like Reagan and Bush and all them folks, okay,
Mhm.
okay, those are the people that actually uh, responsible for the crack era and
Wow.
and and mass incarceration. So the neoliberals, that's a neoliberal agenda. Okay, it's not
So
very hard.
do you think, because I was looking at the parallels between now and the 80s, do you see like the 80s was a backlash to the 1960s? Like,
Black saying, get the fuck out of here, man. Okay, you're a troll. You're trolling.
yeah, he was being weird. But yeah, like I feel like it was a backlash to the civil rights era and everything that happened in the 60s. Same way the right now we're seeing a backlash to 2020. That's what I feel like.
But what's the backlash to 2020?
Um, I guess so. Like the Overton window is swinging to the right. I know you're saying that we've always been neoliberal, but now it's like
We're always been liberal. Okay, why is it swaying to the right or it's more so-called conservative? Because
you saying why?
yeah, because neoliberalism is dying. Okay,
Hmm. Oh, okay. So
and
kind
what
of
what
like
and what do you call conservative anyway?
I guess for me it's like small government, less social programs.
Okay, a small government. What's the biggest? What's one of the biggest costs? Okay, as far as government costs. What do you think it is?
Defense, I think. Well,
Defense.
no,
It's defense. Do you see them reducing defense?
no, they actually hiked it recently.
Okay.
So it's
So in other words, do you see them? Do you see them basically uh, uh, taxing taxing the rich, taxing the rich, and basically putting more reducing the budget?
no, no.
Okay. Okay. Where do you see a smaller government, and under whom?
So it seems like they're talking about cutting the entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicaid, stuff like that.
They
That's
can do that, but okay, you can do that. Okay, what's your outcome?
more poverty, obviously.
Well, okay, and when people in poverty do what?
Crime.
Well, they also do crime, and also what? Okay, they would disrupt your system. Okay, so in other
Yeah.
words, you know how you walk through a store now, if all the shelves are open. Okay,
hmm
what's going to happen? Have to happen if you decided to cut social programs.
Um, they're I'm not sure exactly.
If you cut social programs and you turn this into a developing country, academically have a whole bunch of poor people.
hmm Oh yeah,
And
there's no consumerism, is what you're saying.
look at what's going on in Chicago. Okay, when you start cutting programs and people didn't have jobs or money, what do they say? They start walking into stores and doing what?
Oh, looting.
Looting. They just took it. How you
Yeah.
gonna stop them? How you gonna stop 1,000 people walking in and taking stuff?
Okay. But I feel like maybe
No, no, we
they're
don't feel. We gonna think today,
okay.
right?
I think that maybe they feel like it's only going to hit us mostly, and so maybe that's why they're like talking about
Okay,
cutting
okay.
stuff like that.
Say it does hit us, right? You
hmm
talking about 50 million? You talking about 48 million people? Say it does hit us, okay? Say it does. You got 50 million people spread out all over the country. That's the problem. Can you put them all in jail?
No,
Can you stop them from looting?
but no,
Okay,
but
but what? So what do you do with them?
so it does seem like there is like an attempt of like a some kind of a crime bill or mass incarceration
So
again.
okay, at the height of mass incarceration, how many people were actually in prison and jail?
Like a million ish.
900,000, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Black males alone. How many black males are in the United States? Black males alone.
like 6 million.
No. Come on, man.
I
Got
don't
40
know.
got 40 million people. How you gonna have 6 million
Oh
males?
shit! I don't.
You got
Around like 20 million.
you got about 20 million males. You got 18 million black male adults. You're gonna put them
hmm
all in prison or jail.
Well, no, but
Okay. And you know how much it costs to actually put a man in prison?
a lot.
Okay. The average is $40,000 a year.
hmm
So you're gonna put all those people in prison or jail at $40,000 a year per copy. Does that make sense?
No, doesn't. So
Okay.
what's so what's the solution? Like,
The solution is what I call techno Marxism, right? Okay. What the World Economic Forum is let the machines take over, make your profit, give people a basic income, or when you tax whatever it is that you tax, okay, and then give people let people make their own jobs, whatever that is. So they got to retrain, retool to actually barter amongst themselves, okay? Because the big boys ain't gonna do anything for you anymore. That is the future, okay? So it's already happening, okay? They just released Chat GP. They just put the AIs out in the wild. It's already causing havoc. So it's
yeah,
going to have to be redone. And the United States doesn't have the money and the resources that it used to. In the 70s, they were top of the world. They had all the money, all the gold, all the resources, right? That
hmm
was that was that was 50, 53, 54 years ago. Okay. Then we ain't that country no more.
because of neoliberalism.
Neoliberal, basically, it's more than that. Okay. And I'm not teaching a class today for the most part. I'm just answering questions. But I'll tell you this. Quigley told them back in 1965. It's called, and I've said this before. It's called civilizational rotation. You can actually go on my BGS for books. actually went through all of this, man, in 20 lessons about why this is happening. Okay. In other words, basically, technology, your core always moves. Okay. In other words, it started in one spot as far as Western civilization, started in one spot, like it started in Spain with silver. It moved all the way to France, to the UK, to Germany, and then it eventually moved over here. So the core is here. The thing is, we've expanded the Western civilization from a white Western society to a global society, right?
Hmm.
And first thing that Quigley told them not to do is include China into your civilization. Guess what they did?
Oh, they did, and it transferred over there. Makes sense. I get what
So,
you're
so, so
saying.
all the poisonous stuff called chips and microprocessors that we didn't want to make here because it's too poisonous. You moved all that shit over there. So you moved all your technology over there. Guess who has all your technology now?
uh, well, East Asia.
Well, China.
Yeah.
China manufactures like 30 to 35% of all the world's goods. They're the biggest manufacturer on the planet. They're the number two economy. Okay, if you just count GDP. Okay, if you count purchasing power, they're the leading economy.
Hmm.
Okay, China's where we were back in the 1940s, 1945. You shifted the core. So
Oh man.
now where are you? So it's more than just that. So the world is going to change. Uh, the technology is going to change. The environment's going to change. It's already changing. Now what? And nobody knows because we've never been here before. How do you do this?
So you okay? Damn. And then so you would just advise young black men to just get into like STEM, basically,
S-
right?
STEM, get in where you fit in, man. In other words, you're going to have to be intentional about what you practice, the skills that you have, and you're going to have to. And I'm trying to think of the guy that said this. He said this. I heard him say this back in 2006. You might have to get on a boat or a plane, go someplace else to where you can actually apply your skills.
Oh man, that's true. It's hard to get your foot in the door here.
Yeah, unless you make your own door.
Yeah, or like go in the military or something.
Military is a nice stopgap. Okay, but what happens when the country itself cannot afford a military?
True. Yeah. Um.
So it's a nice stopgap. It's a good stopgap. Military is a nice stopgap, but there are no guarantees anymore.
That's legit. Thank you. You kind of like answered most of the doubts I had about like because it's a lot of shit happening. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, it's happening. I can't keep up with it, so I don't expect you to be able to keep up with it because it's happening so fast. Because we're right at really we're like the precipice of the whole world doing this big shift. It's been coming for a while, but now we're right in the middle of this big shift, and everybody's scared. So, including white folks, which is why you see laws like affirmative action going, which they've been trying to get rid of for forever anyway. They've been trying to get rid of it since 1972. And what I want to see, they said it was race based instead of gender based. I wonder if white women have cut their own deal because most affirmative action actually goes to white women. I wonder if they cut their deal with their men to cut everybody else out. But we'll see. We have to see what happens.
Well, so how do you think that's going to affect the dynamics in the community? Because I feel like, well, not feel, but it seemed like a lot of the affirmative action was mostly going towards the women. So how was that going to
It it,
affect?
it, it it mostly went toward white women, right? 83%
Mhm.
of affirmative action goes to white women, and everybody else gets whatever's left. So, how's it going to affect? Is this going to affect? Uh, talk about women in our community? I don't know.
Yeah, like so it seems like a lot of the institutions are ran by women in our community. Like if you look at the Congressional Black Caucus, like stuff like that.
I,
So I was wondering how
we don't we have to see how we can't predict how a plate's going to break when you drop it, can you?
yeah, true.
So the plate's still in the air. We have to wait till it lands to see how it breaks into pieces. We don't know.
Mhm.
We don't know. We can just guess. It's going to be harder, of course, but we don't know. I mean, they already started stopped doing diversity hires, so black women have been getting fired. So Maybe they'll continue. Maybe it won't. We don't know.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Have a good night.
Oh, no problem.
Yes, BGS. Can I say something to you?
You sure can.
Hello, Christ. I'm about to sin again.
When have you stopped?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, never, never. I'm
Okay.
taking on the iniquities of mankind at this point. It's
Eh,
fun.
it's been far too long since your last confession, son.
I know. I'll say this to everybody saying about the military.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't understand military science. I'm not an expert, but let me talk.
Mm. Okay.
um, a lot of people don't understand. We spend more on military than most countries' GDP.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of your technology is coming from, or going to make the first stop towards.
It used to. It used to. Yeah.
It used to, but
Yeah.
most of your technological booms for the past 100 years came through your military.
Yeah.
And where where have you noticed people don't understand like Ukraine, for instance? I know we're probably going to get knocks on the door, you know, but there's a reason why we don't fight scale wars and we fight proxy wars like Ukraine.
Yeah.
It's because there are certain countries that grew so powerful that their firepower would actually eliminate life on Earth.
Yeah. 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 Who said that? In fact, if I can find it, Fletcher Prouty actually mentioned that about. He said that back in the 50s about that these mass theater wars were over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're too powerful. It's
Yeah.
not even costly. It's just that when you fight wars
Mm-hmm.
like Afghanistan and Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
it's cheaper to leave your equipment there than to ship it back. Most of your most important shit you're gonna put a fucking incendiary grenade and burn it out anyway and take all the computers out.
Yeah.
So here's here's the fundamental thing. You don't want countries to have to station their nukes in one of these fundamental racial or religious groups to get a hold of a fucking nuke or at least some uranium or some plutonium and just make a dirty bomb.
Uh-huh.
So you're not gonna be full scale because Russia and the United States alone, they don't have
Mm-hmm.
to fight anybody. They have enough fucking nuclear armaments to end life on Earth.
Yeah.
Each, like, they don't have to fight anybody. You could just have a madman just say "fuck it all," and you got to be very careful because this is. I've noticed this for the past 8 years we've been here. At least I've been on
Mm-hmm.
doors and other guys. A lot of people don't understand power. A lot of people don't understand the concepts of power. And I might need your help this week. And let me know if you still need me
Okay.
for your instructor. I'm open. But
Okay.
this is the part about power.
Mm-hmm.
When you raise your children, why do you protect your children with your life and kill
Yeah.
for them? Right?
Right.
What must your children do first in order for them to get the
Yeah.
ultimate protection?
Well, they have to obey, of
They
course.
have to be obeyed. And how
Hmm.
many times have I said it? The first rule of protection is obedience.
Right.
The second rule that I came up with, is the second rule of protection is that protection costs.
Yeah, it does.
And people don't understand, are you willing to pay the cost to be the boss? You're not going to get, like, I don't expect women to be submissive automatically, but what I do expect them is to be respectful automatically.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with human beings. Like me and another guy, we walk past each other. We don't go mean mugging because we know that we may not walk away from this if we get violent.
Yeah. It's an agreement. It's a social agreement.
Yeah. And just like we have a social agreement between two men, that's how politics and power is.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to want to do this because if somebody says, "Yeah, you do this," it's all out.
Yeah.
You got to take even if they're bluffing, is it worth calling that bluff?
Well, the thing is, I always say, what's acceptable odds of a nuclear holocaust?
None.
None. Exactly. And you have some people that will I say it's like a 1% chance. But the thing is, the military come in, we can't take that chance.
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's what they'll say. That's what they have been saying. I don't know if they still say that.
It's it's funny because this is the reason why I'm pro military for a lot of young black boys. Why? It it gets you out of that fucking gynocentric way of thinking.
Hmm.
A lot of young boys, just like I'm not saying the guy who was up here earlier, he had a very narrow-minded view,
He's young. Yeah.
and he's young. You're
Yeah.
supposed to. That's why when
Yeah.
one of the Padawans they came to visit, his friends came to visit who worked for me at BlurCon. They have a newfound respect for me since they scratched the surface. Well, they all cut their hair because
Mm.
they're trying to go to like different police academies and get accepted as cadets to go to the academy.
Okay.
Man, I'm probably influencing like so many young black men to go to the military and police. But who knew?
Yeah, I did because it's there's a need for it. So eventually, the need was going to actually meet up with the resources, of course.
The need and the fact that you got a guy who's cool as the other side of the pillow and represented well.
Yeah, yeah. You happen to have a good teacher, so that helps.
And it's like they have a newfound respect because when they saw all the stuff I had to literally command, I said, y'all didn't know this, but y'all know y'all were protected 10,000 people, right? And it blew their mind. Not only the celebrities, and that's excluding the celebrities. And when, let's see, what do you think about the French Foreign Legion?
It's probably
Um,
it's probably dead because the French can't afford it, and plus you got um, you don't have control over the French colonies like you used to. They're still there. The
let's,
thing is that they're not. There's a whole bit different thing about it.
they,
I
they,
would I wouldn't be in it right now.
let me put it to you this way. If I wasn't hired as a police officer, I would have done a stint as the French Foreign Legion. I, re-
Eh, you probably
I
make more being a private contractor.
Yeah, I was, but you know, I was gonna do it because it's nothing about a uniform, and plus, I was really trying to learn French,
No,
fluently. But
yeah.
I was, if I couldn't find nothing else, I would have made tons of money as a private contractor, especially before my son was born. Shit.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, and
I,
and we'll get other people in a minute. But go ahead, Charles.
but to answer your question very quickly, I have a great deal of respect for it. That's the French Foreign Legion is very similar to like
Yeah.
your
Your Wagner group is really the French Foreign
yeah,
Legion.
pretty. It's like you basically have a bunch of guys from other nationalities who are vying for French, citizenship. And the easiest way for anybody in any country to get citizenship is military service. So think of it as your light infantry group. It's a combination of full time military, but also very similar to like an Army Ranger. They're going to be your shock troops. So I have respect for them. Hell, I probably would have been one if I couldn't find jobs in America. And it's not bad, but you got to think of the economics. I think that if you're going into the military, you should always have a plan. I know they got this one guy called the Black John Wick who wears the Scully.
Hmm.
There's some things I agree with him, and there's some things I disagree. When he says the Air Force is the best service, no, it isn't. I'm gonna tell you why. Air Force is better for black women, and we already know why.
Hmm.
But when you're talking about tactics, unless you're going to be a PJ, unless you're going to be security force, which is their version of military police, you're going to be sitting in a chair
Yeah, it's more. It's much more for
for brain.
strategic. Yeah, strategic and stuff like that. So
And if you're and people say, what about the pilots? Your best pilots are not in the Air Force; they're in the Navy.
yeah,
Just like you
but
look at Top Gun.
but if you're looking to get into one of your intelligence agencies or something like that, Air Force is
Air,
probably your best bet.
Air Force, or if you're going to one of the, Navy, of course, Navy, NSI, and
Mm,
NCIS. Army, intelligence investigations. Matter of fact, my
mm,
lead instructor at ESI, he was Army Ranger, 75th Army Ranger Battalion, and he was also an intelligence officer. And so was
yeah,
his wife.
yeah. Air Force deals more in global strategy than it does in
And I,
then on the ground. That's what they're there for, support and global strategy. That if you're going to get into that, that's where you're going to be.
and to answer your question, Paul, I was the lead for the security detail for Cree Summer.
Okay.
I was in charge.
All right. All right, folks. James and Hot Sauce, get in. You guys want to get in?
Yeah, yeah. I just want to call a little bit to talk about the economy you guys were mentioning. I'm at
Hmm.
the office right now, so I can't talk too much
Okay.
about China directly, but I will say that
No,
when
whatever you want to talk about. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to talk about whatever you're doing
say again.
directly. As you don't have to talk about anything directly. Just whatever you want to talk about. It's open.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's fine. But I do think that America will become more European, more Europeanized in the way we think about work, jobs, and things like that.
Hmm.
Like when you look at younger Europeans, they travel around a little bit. They go to universities in different places. They work in different countries because just their economy is just not big enough to support all the youth. And I
Hmm.
think that's probably what's going to happen with America. I don't think American economy will drop out of the top 10
No.
in the next two lifetimes because you can see like the investment in Mexico from China. And you just, Asia in general is going to be the next power block,
Eh,
right?
Did you
What
did you
Europe used to be is
you,
what
you,
Asia
you hear
is Asia.
about Argentina? I know you probably did.
Yeah,
What's going on? You heard about that?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That's going to be interesting.
yeah. But in general, I don't simply see like a Chinese rise because China's kind of smart. I
Hmm.
see an Asia rise, right? I see like how Europe as a power block was
Hmm.
during like the 80s and 90s during our lifetime is what Asia is going to be. Malaysia, Singapore, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, right?
Hmm.
They're even coming out with their specific version of a euro, but for Asian currency and things like that. So
Hmm.
that's why I see the economy kind of moving. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. And so with that being said, you have to have an Asia plan. If you're under 25, you have to have an Asia plan.
Hmm. Yeah.
Unless you want
Or
to be on
are you
what
black?
is
Are you black?
it?
Are you going to go to the continent where they're building? So.
Yeah, but see the thing about it is, BGS, okay, as of right now, on paper it looks fantastic.
Hmm.
On the ground, I don't have faith.
Uh, it's inevitable, just like everything else. Like if you went back to China in the 70s, okay, on the
Yeah.
ground, it doesn't look too much, right? It doesn't look like it's going to come together. So.
Well, I like yeah, I don't like all I can say is like I can't argue with the data, but right,
Hmm.
right. I'm just what I'm personally experiencing on the day to day. I just can say I
Yeah.
don't have faith.
Well, basically, okay, really, in earnest, this stuff didn't start till 2013. Okay,
Right. Well,
so
I
these
would say I would say about 2008, 2009, right? That's when like China heavily
no, what
started
I'm
investing.
saying, the real direct investment, which is the
Hmm.
East African corridor, which is the real
Yeah.
investment, didn't start to 2013. Okay, I
Okay.
was there when they announced it. I was at USC when they announced the whole plan. Okay,
Mhm.
oh
so
wow.
that's when it really started. Yeah, I was there. They had a big ass map, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
they yeah,
because
in 2013, I know Kenya in general, they had
yeah,
like
yeah,
they announced their 2030 initiative plan. Yeah,
yeah.
that one I know about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a you're in China. There's a lot of moving parts. There was a I don't
Yeah.
know. I think I have your email. Do I have your email? Maybe not. Oh yeah.
I'll put it in
No,
the
no,
back.
no, no. Send me an email that you can actually send me that's not going to compromise you. Okay? Because
Okay.
there was something that I saw a video. I'm trying to remember the guy that said it, but they actually put in a lot of pieces about why certain timings that G did made sense. Because when he first did it, I said this doesn't make sense. Then I found out
Yeah.
the stats behind it. I said, okay, now I know why it makes sense. So
Yeah.
so basically, G, in my opinion, I don't know if I can say this or not. If I can't, let me
No,
know.
you can. I mean, long as if it's something good, you can say it.
In other words, I think China and G are like maybe 25 years ahead of schedule.
Oh
My
I
wow.
think so too. I think
yeah,
so too.
yeah,
I think so too. I
Wow.
think the rise is a little bit faster than people projected
yeah,
because everybody projected 2050, right? Because
yeah.
I remember because I used to
And
go to
I, I,
the
I, I I think it's less about how fast they rose in comparison how fast Europe and America fell.
Hell,
Okay,
that's true. There's a lot of moving parts. Like
there's a lot of moving parts. Yeah.
people like like nobody expected the 2008 economy to last
Hmm.
like it did.
Hmm.
How many people lost middle class lost so much money as it did. Nobody
Yeah.
expected the population boom in Africa, and also nobody really paid attention to the One Belt Road Initiative. Right? Nobody paid
They knew about it, and because everybody knew about it because the East
attention.
African Corridor is part of it, but nobody
Yeah.
expected it to be announced it this fast, this early when it
Right.
was actually announced. I mean,
Right. So yeah.
it caught everybody off guard, including me. And I've been following China
Yeah.
since '94. It caught me off
Yeah,
guard. I
but
said
the
it
thing
didn't
about
make
it
sense.
is
Uh huh.
what economists fails to realize is that China had did a lot of work inside Asia as well.
Yeah.
We discounted Malaysia, we discounted Thailand, we discounted Singapore, and they did
Hmm.
a lot of work with the Sino-Pac that a lot of economists never really talk about with the Sino-Pac, which was really good to help boost all economies in Asia.
Hmm.
Right. So yeah, you're definitely right about the 20. It's about 25 years ahead of schedule because
Yeah.
I remember I was going to the what is the American Chamber of Commerce here in Shanghai, and they
Hmm.
always used to say this was back in like 2014. They always used to say by 2050 China will be the largest economy in the world. But
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that by 2030, 2035 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like I said, I follow it pretty closely, and and a lot of the timing of when it was announced, uh,
Yeah,
at first it didn't make sense because, like I said, it was 2035 at the earliest. At the earliest, that this plan was
yeah,
supposed to be enacted for various reasons, but they did
right.
it early. And
Yeah, I
at the time,
mean,
at the time, I didn't know why, but now I understand it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, but she did a lot of amazing things. I mean, he pretty much rid of objective poverty and things like that.
yeah.
He created the
Uh,
domestic
uh,
market,
and
right?
the thing is, I know one thing I know about the Chinese, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. They're very intentional. Okay, they're very
Yeah, yeah,
methodical.
yeah, yeah. Yes, 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 yes,
And
yes,
for them
yes.
to move a plant up that far, that means there are other
Mhm.
things that had to happen. So, and
Yeah,
when they plugged when the guy plugged in those numbers, they said, okay, now it makes sense. And basically,
yeah,
they said, okay, now it's time to actually seize the opportunity instead
yeah.
of waiting.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. I just want to say one more thing, and I'll
go
pass
ahead.
the mic. I would say this: if I had to compare my war in education compared
Hmm.
to my
Hmm.
on the job training experience and business, I would say I
Hmm.
have learned much more being here than being in the classroom back home.
Yeah, of
Much,
course. Yeah,
much more.
that's even though Wharton prepared you for it, but thing is, yeah, you're always gonna learn on the job quicker.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because just the way. Well, let me clarify. Just the way how they do business here is
Yeah,
very different than how we're taught back home or how we do it back home. It's
yeah,
very,
yeah.
very different.
Yeah, because China is not a liberal society. Okay,
No, no,
so
no. But I will tell you this.
and it's
It's
not wrong. There's
because
nothing wrong with it. It's not wrong with
yeah,
it, but
but
yeah, it's different. Yeah.
it's because working here and dealing with the different personalities and business culture here that
Hmm.
made me successful in Africa.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
surprisingly,
Basically,
surprisingly.
well, because Africa and China are closer to traditional societies than America.
Yeah.
America's very liberal, and Europe is very liberal. They work differently. So
Well, I would just say contracts don't mean shit here or over there. But back home, you have power. But contracts here don't mean shit, right?
in other words, it's person to person. That's
Yeah, it's
the
relationship based. Can I
relationship
trust
is
you?
based. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
trust. Can I trust you? Yeah, and that's the
yeah,
way. And whereas Western Europe and United States is more rule of law. What
yeah,
does it say on paper?
yeah. What is on
Yeah,
paper?
and
But last thing I want,
In Latin America works the same way.
yeah,
It's personal context and personal relationships that work
yeah.
better.
But
Yeah.
last thing, I just really hope we really don't go to a barter and trade system.
To what? To a modern
To a
trade
barter
system?
and trade system. Yeah, I mean, it looks that way. That's how I see it. I see it as if you want to be employed, you have to create your own job. I really do
And
see that in America.
that is in other words they I don't think they have I don't think they have another way out. I really don't.
Yeah, but
According,
ETS, that means it's harder to make billions of dollars. I want to, You know, I want you know because it's just harder
Oh,
when people are working for people
mhm.
like me. It's easier to make money off people.
Yeah, it
But when
is.
you barter and trade, it's harder to make exorbitant amounts
Oh,
of money. I know that
well,
sounds horrible,
it
but
won't be exactly barter and trade. The thing is that just like every
no,
other
no,
business,
it won't be. But
yeah,
it will be. You got to provide for yourself.
yeah. And but the thing is that it has to be with the help of the government. So and that's part
Yeah,
of it. Too.
but
They
when
don't
you're
know.
providing for yourself, you don't spend a lot.
It depends how much money you make.
Yeah,
Mm,
but you know, the average person is not going to. People will reevaluate how to use credit.
Yeah, they will.
That's yeah.
They will.
Yeah. So,
Credit,
anyways, I'll pass the
credit,
mic.
spending money, resources, everything has to
Yeah,
be
because it's going to be,
reevaluated.
it's going to be different. You know, it's going to be different how people are going to use money and evaluate money for the next generation. Because I guess this is
Oh,
going to affect
oh,
what generation A.
Generation A and going forward, man. In fact,
Yeah, generation A.
this
Yeah,
this is a not a generational shift, but this is actually really a civilizational shift. We probably haven't
yeah.
seen this shift since the 1790.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're just seeing a changing of the guard. I see, like, I don't just see China. I see Asia in general
Yeah,
being the new
y-
Europe,
y-
right? So the trendsetter, the fashion,
yeah,
economic hub. You know,
yeah.
like how New York was the financial hub.
Yeah,
Shanghai's going to be the
yeah,
financial hub.
but also different technological environment too.
Yeah, yeah,
AI,
yeah. They're gonna be
automation,
yeah, yeah.
all
Like
that
the
kind of stuff.
Silicon Valley, right,
Because
right.
you got
Silicon Valley is now, you know,
yeah,
going to be Shenzhen, right?
yeah,
You know, fashion is going to come out of Singapore,
yeah.
and finance is probably going to come out of Singapore too, because Singapore is a little bit better in finance than China is actually. So
I think finance is going to be less handled by people and more by,
by AI
our
and
AI, and then we have
yeah,
no idea what that's going to mean, man, because that's another big ball of wax, man,
um,
that
well, then
nobody exactly know where it's going. We're going to
see the
go.
thing about it is in Asia, Asian people don't like to lose control, right? So I don't know how dependent on
Yeah,
critical industries they're going to
it's
rely on that.
you won't have a choice because you're already in a in a technological race with other people. So
Right, because
and
I see AI heavy. I see AI heavy in healthcare. I see AI. Well, I can just speak in Asia. AI is going to be heavy in healthcare, right? Because right now, what is it? Medical tourism is booming in
mm-hmm,
Asia, right? Thailand,
mm-hmm,
Singapore.
mm-hmm.
No, well, Thailand and Malaysia in particular is booming. I see AI in food industries and things like that. But
Fine.
finances,
Finance, everything you can think of, right? Uh, uh,
I just don't see I don't see China doing that for finance.
they have no
Like,
choice. They
yeah,
have
I
no
don't know.
choice.
We'll see. But
We'll
I'll
see.
pass the
Yeah,
mic.
you'll pass the mic. Yeah, you can tell me how far I can go back. I think China's all, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. It has nothing to do with hot sauce. He probably differs in his opinion, right? I'm just gonna say that as a disclaimer. In my opinion, they have no choice. They pushed all
Maybe.
their cars into the middle,
Mhm.
and basically they have no choice. They're on this
But
path.
but I will say this:
Mhm.
China will not be the financial hub in Asia. It will be Singapore in the end.
I don't know.
so I gotta.
I think China has to be. I really do.
I think China will be up there. Like it'll probably be like number
Uh,
two.
yeah.
But Singapore, I mean,
You think off let it like the United States did with London?
yeah,
Okay.
I see
You
that.
see something
Like
like that. Okay.
how
All right. I can
right.
see that.
I see like you know, Shanghai will probably be the second, but you know, the Wall Street will be in Singapore because I mean it's
Uh,
already there, right? All of Asia goes to the Singaporean stock market, not China's.
yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. We know. We'll see. And
Yeah.
eventually, Beijing is going to have to take control of it. Eventually, just like the
Yeah,
United
yeah,
States did.
they will. China will definitely run Asia, but I just see Asia as overall like I just see like China's the strongest country, then probably Singapore, then U.S., and then another Asian country.
The Koreans are locked out of it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway,
Yeah. I mean,
we'll see.
they're
We'll
old,
see.
man.
Yeah.
Japan and Korea is old news unless you want to get a
Yeah.
wife. But outside of that,
Yeah, the second biggest technological country in Asia is whose? Korea,
In
South
South
Korea.
Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, South Korea today.
If
Today, but
today is not going away, not going away.
well, here's my prognostication.
Okay.
Asia, let's say 2035, right? China, China, Singapore, financially, right? China,
Mm.
Singapore, no, China, U.S., Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, and then European countries.
Yeah, over the next decade or so. Yeah, probably
Yeah,
so. Yeah, we'll
that
see.
that would be my
We'll,
prognostication.
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, things are so wild right now. It's hard to kind of predict it. But yeah, but you're pretty close, I think. Yeah.
I
Go
have
ahead,
a
James.
question. I was gonna say, so where does Japan fit in all this?
They're part of the Western decline.
Okay.
They're going to have to take second. They're already in second place. Japan can't, but Japan can't project any power right now. They still have financial power. They haven't addressed the demographic problem. Okay. Um,
They
there's
don't
a whole
really
lot
have
of
a
things.
mill.
They have a whole lot of things that are not right with Japan, but they still have technological and financial momentum. How long will that last?
Yeah, and BGS, I just want
Go
to say
ahead.
one thing to us all in the chat because even on the stock market, like the Shanghai Shenzhen stock market, if you're a
Mhm.
foreigner, you cannot invest in all available stocks, right?
Okay.
You only can do like A and B plus. Not
Okay.
all you cannot invest in all types of stocks here. That's another reason why the Singaporean stock market is going to be a little bit better because it's open, right?
Okay.
China's stock market is not as open for
Okay.
investment.
Okay.
So, BJS, I have a
Mm.
question.
Uh-huh.
Hasowski, is there a reason why, in this current environment, that Japan has not really developed its own military? Um,
Oh yeah, it's called World War II, man.
Yeah,
They're they're
same
they're
I
with
mean,
same with Germany.
they're
even
they
with
are they are forbidden to do it.
so even as an ally to the West,
Yeah.
has there not been thoughts and consideration knowing that um,
Well,
they?
Japan
You
has
see where I'm going with this?
Let me finish your thought. Go finish your thought.
No, I was
I
just
mean,
saying.
okay,
Um,
let's put it this
go.
way, man. Let's put it this way, right? Okay. Japan has what 160 million people, give or take.
Yep,
No resources for the most part,
it's fair enough.
and very small land mass, right? They're up against they're up against a country that's 10 times their size, land wise, uh, land
People.
wise, land wise, population wise, resource wise. Okay, with greater technology, what chance do they have against those people?
No, I know. I agree with that. I was just saying, with that being said, has there been any consideration to allow Japan to develop their arms? You know what I mean? Because
Well, they can always have a defense force, but they
Yes.
have an actual military.
Just same thing. In other words, Japan and Germany got
That was part of
declawed.
that
You
was
got
part of
That's part
the,
of the deal.
the deal. Like
wow.
either we atomize you. If you build a military, you basically said the war is back on, and that gives a lot of countries the ability to atomize them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, who Japan is old as shit. Who
Yeah.
they fighting?
Oh
Nobody.
the thing is, over the last 80 years, why
Older.
haven't they have been able to build? That's the reason.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody's having babies. The population is
And
one of is aging.
but that's not the question that he was asking, though.
Yeah, yeah. But true. But even if they have a military, I don't
Yeah.
think that will help them at
When
this point.
when now it wouldn't. But things 40
Yeah,
years ago it might. Like 50 years ago,
yeah,
it'd been
yeah,
definite. They would have back. China wouldn't have risen the way it risen if Japan, because Japan knew. Okay, Japan had
yeah.
weapons and had the same military might that they had back when in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Might
Oh
be a
yeah.
different story.
I know China would have never rose.
China would have never. Nah, wouldn't dare.
Well,
No,
There's
you
a,
got to think
I'm in
that little.
China.
one
Since I'm
time,
in
one time,
China,
one time,
I have to say
You
that.
got to
I have
think.
to say
what I'm saying is, I mean, it doesn't matter if the things that played out the way it played out. Okay,
Yeah,
and
well, B, just please let me say this because I'm in China
go
at the
ahead.
moment.
Okay, go ahead.
With the exception of Dragon Ball Z, fuck Japan. Thank you.
well, basically, I mean, I have no ill will toward Japan one way or the other. Basically, that was between It was between white folks. And Japan's one of the
Yeah,
white
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
folks.
yeah. That has not. Yeah, I'm a black man. That shit ain't nothing to
Yeah,
do with
yeah,
me.
Hey,
yeah.
they told my black ass to go home from war, so shit, I listened. But
Ba-
it's the
Basically, if it had not been for black people, okay, or black men, the United States would never have defeated Japan.
no, because
Impossible.
that is when you in the Pacific. I mean, that fucking humidity, that heat.
Humidity, the swamp, and stuff like that. That basically, the white Marines got their asses whipped and handed to them.
Yeah, and I
What?
mean, you gotta look at it. When I was in Colorado, I always think it's funny. They were like, "Hey, you're not gonna put on suntan lotion." I said, "Well, God gave me mine." Them, you got to remember the range is up on the hills, so each berm you go up is 50, 60 feet or yards. So you're going up like about 300 fucking feet or yards in elevation, and it's funny. A lot of people don't think
Okay,
about this. Like,
there's a dude down here called My Black Cock. Okay, you think I should let him up? No,
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 unless
no,
he's going to show his face, which I'm
no,
pretty
no.
sure he's not going to show his face. It might be something else.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, I'm just looking at it like that little motherfucking island country was terrorizing the fucking southeast. Like, there's a reason why China has it out for a lot of people, especially the Japanese, man.
I think they used to, and hostiles can correct me if I'm wrong. I think they had much more angst before, like maybe even a decade or two ago than they do now.
Depends
I
on
think.
depends on
You
depends on
talk,
the generation,
and it
right?
depends on generation, but I think now is their Chinese, Japan is more of an afterthought now.
Yeah, yeah. If they're 30 and younger, they don't really. But if they're 40 and up, they care because the Nanjing massacre was in the 60s, right? So like I'm in Shanghai, so I'm very close to Nanjing. So here in Shanghai, Shanghai's pretty much fuck 'em. But if you go to other places in China,
Well,
if you're about 40 and up, because if you're 40 and up, your grandparents told you the stories of that, right?
hmm
So they're kind of like fuck Japan, low key fuck Japan. But if you're 30 and younger, they're just like whatever. Like it's just like in with Gen Z and Gen A, right? They're not as focused on white supremacy as Generation X or the Boomers or the Silent. So it's the same situation.
yeah. I mean, but got to remember this stuff shifts. We used
Right,
to have
right.
much more angst against Germany back in the day. Because
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
Germany, we don't have the
So
same angst.
yeah, yeah. So it's just like if we're talking about Nanjing, because when you're talking about Japan and China, you're really talking about the Nanjing massacre. So if you're talking about Nanjing, yes, they're like fuck them. But outside of that, for the most part, it's an afterthought. BGS is right
Mm.
for
Yeah,
30
yeah,
and younger.
yeah, yeah.
30 and
I think they become an afterthought. Like, okay, like when Japan says we're going to build a planes or missiles, and China go, oh, that's cute. Okay.
younger. Yeah, yeah. Outside of Nanjing, outside
Yeah.
of because in
Okay.
Nanjing, it's no
Yeah.
Japanese person should ever travel there. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
So pretty much, Japan is a sitting duck.
No, they're an appendage. As long as Japan really doesn't do very much or try to buck, then nobody's really going to bother them for the
Yeah,
most part.
China's not really focused on that. China's really focused on building manufacturing in Mexico, right? They just dropped like 50 billion, and they're trying to like
Wow.
secure the resources in Eastern Africa, right? Because it's a food shortage, right? Not enough food anywhere else. So Africa has to mechanize their agricultural system, right? And so that's where China's at right now.
So with that deal with Mexico, where does this do you put the relationship between Mexico and the United States and Canada?
Well, the reason, so for me, when I look at the manufacturing being built in Mexico, that tells me they just want to decrease logistics and shipping because of the pandemic, and they want to be closer to the US because the US is still the largest consumer on the planet. So since they're dropping that, I still have faith in the US economy somewhat because you're not going to build up a manufacturing industry hub
Yeah.
in Mexico if you think the US economy is going to just die out.
Yeah. Well,
So
you hope it doesn't because
right,
that's your market. You're not going to kill your own
right, that's
market.
your market, right? Like the world's market is still the world market for manufacturing is America. The world market for food is Africa.
Hmm.
Okay. So now,
Meaning that if we're buying like electronics, cars, things like that, US is going to buy more than everybody else.
Yeah.
And for food, like I just really recently found out, right? The number one destination for exported food is Africa.
Mm.
They do like
Really? Okay.
$100 billion of imports of food. Like it's
wow.
crazy. Yeah.
So I mean, we just and piggyback off obviously with the current economy, and obviously you mentioned that we're going through austerity. Um,
If we
with
not,
that being
if we're not already there, yeah.
yeah, right. So with that being said, um, where do you see where do you see this geopolitical shift if this economy goes off the rails, right? Because now everyone's going to be scrambling trying to figure out, okay,
If this economy go off the rails, then our projection wouldn't even be close, man. We have no idea. If this whole global infrastructure will come apart.
BGS, I have a question for you. Which
Hmm.
one do you think is more accurate? The U.S. economy just falls off, or the U.S. economy will not be as globally as important as
Yeah, I
how?
think I think it'd be. I think the slow decline. I think is in everybody's best interest for the slow decline. They're not really
Mhm.
trying to dismantle the United States economically, so it's going to be
Right,
slow. And I
right,
think that's always been the plan. In fact,
right.
I think that according to what I used to read back in the aughts, uh, it's actually fast. I think it's actually faster than even China wants. They don't want it to be
oh
this fast.
wow,
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to understand, like U.S. is the largest consumer. Like there will be an economic decline, but I don't think it's going to be such and such Armageddon. I just think Americans are moving from being an important person on the global stage to no longer being the important person on the global stage,
well,
right?
well that okay. So
On the
if
global
that's
economic stage.
well, look, okay. With that being said, hot sauce, let me pose this question to you. Obviously, China is going to lead um, the future, in my opinion, right?
It already
Well,
is.
If it
it's
is, right?
here, but the thing about it is you got to understand China's making moves, so Asia will be important.
Okay,
And that's
so
where people are not really focusing
And
on.
I mean, in other words, it's not just about China itself. It's about the whole global
Right. It's
South.
about the crew. It's
It's
about
about
the
the whole,
crew.
okay,
It's the
the
big.
whole global South. So
okay.
it's
Yeah.
about Asia. It's about Africa. It's about Latin America. The whole global
Yes.
South.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
okay. With that being
It's about
said,
the homies.
how is this going to create a shift for the Asian group to have a larger consumer rate than the United States? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be simple. So, for example, right? Let's look at cars.
Hmm.
1990s to 2010, right? Cars were designed for the American consumer. So no matter where I'm selling the car, I'm selling it in Germany, I'm selling it in Russia, I'm selling it in China. Cars were designed for the American consumer, and everybody just had to deal with it, right? If you didn't like it, tough titty. Now, all consumer goods and things like that are going to be designed for the Asian consumer. So when
Asia,
you
or what we call the third world or the developing world market.
Right.
Yeah.
So when your car is a little bit doesn't fit you enough
Yeah.
because you don't have an Asian body style to it, tough. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
They're the
Uh,
number one consumer,
uh,
right?
Yeah,
Because
I
you
think
got
I think you know what what the I think I know what he's talking about. Okay, run the numbers, right? If you add
yeah.
up America, add up Canada, you add up Europe, how many people do you
Mhm.
think there is, James, total?
Oof. I would say I wouldn't even give it. I would say less than total, maybe less than 900 million.
Like 700 million.
Okay.
Okay, seven, eight tops, right? Okay,
Yep.
in the global South, just the bricks alone. How leave out Asia, just the bricks alone. How many people do you think there is?
Oh shit.
Without China, still over
No,
a
no, no,
billion.
no, bricks, just bricks. Brazil,
Brazil,
Russia,
Russia,
India,
India,
China,
China, South
and South
Africa.
Africa. How
Well,
many people?
well,
Just
India,
hold on,
India is
hold
a
on, hold on,
billion. China, okay.
hold on. Calm down, hot sauce. Okay, how many people do you think there is, James?
I would definitely say about equivalent to at least minimum 600 million.
No,
No.
and now no, we're talking about 4 billion people. Okay,
Yeah.
Oh wow,
so
wow.
in
Yeah.
other, so
Yeah.
if you add Asia on top of that, how many people are we talking about?
Oh now you get close to damn
We're talking
near.
about with
Yeah,
6 billion people. Where's
yeah.
your market?
I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Where's your market?
Yeah.
Now do the math. Where's your market?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you're gonna see,
yeah.
so that's the shift you're gonna see. You're gonna see entertainment, you're gonna see consumer goods, you're gonna see policy, even your passport, right, is going to gear towards preferential treatment to Asian countries and
Yeah,
Southeast Asian
yeah.
countries.
So
Right?
Africa alone has more people than the West. Okay, alone.
Yes, yeah, because it's a billion there as well.
There's
Yeah,
1.2 billion people already.
yeah.
so
Okay,
where does I'm glad you bring that up. So how does this play a role on this national security side
what
of
do
the
you mean
White?
national security? I mean, you got to be less vague about that.
I'm sorry, the military. Military's
In,
the
o-
United States.
in other words, okay. In other words, the military is there to enforce trade or enforce trade, secure trade, get better deals for your populace, right? Okay,
Hmm.
and that's because you have more. Not because you have more people, you got more technology than they do, right?
Yep.
What happens when that stuff comes into balance?
No, I agree. I agree.
Can you project the same force?
I see what you're saying.
So you have to. So basically, you had to cut a better deal toward those people that, you know, that you didn't have to before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And
So yeah.
but what happens when they get infrastructure? They get good development. They have money. They're gonna want to do what? Buy stuff.
that I
Yeah.
remember you saying this, BJS,
Quick
where
note. Yeah, quick note. If y'all want to get ahead of the trend for Black women, start buying that Asian hair and in those Asian tea towels.
I still say, man, join the Black Stepdaddy Union. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what my business ventures are. I'm gonna have Black Lion Black Weave Association.
Look, man, look.
Gonna
First,
be selling
first,
shit on the street corner right next to the dope boy. He gonna be like,
like,
"Yo, what
like
the fuck
we.
you selling?"
And said, Lord
So,
Love Smith. Lord Love Smith,
B,
you do not have a wrench, so you cannot put a link in. It's not going to show up. So,
BGS. Let me ask you a question, right?
mhm.
Because from you, I learned the
you learned something from me. Okay,
yeah, I learned a lot from you.
I'm impressed, man. I feel good now. Go ahead.
Uh, um, what do you call it? Like the something of Miss Anne, the
Oh,
envy of Miss.
tell me what the myth of white woman is.
Yeah, the
Okay,
myth
what
of
about?
like black women have a jealousy for the myth of Anne, right?
Yeah, they want the lifestyle of Miss Ann. Yeah, go ahead.
So, as being a sociologist as you are, what happens when they're going to start being envious of the Asians? What can we call that?
I mean, look at people
The,
like little
the,
look at
the
look
myth
at
of Lee.
look at people like little Kim, right? Okay,
Right.
okay. She does not look like a black or white woman. She looks like she's Asian. Okay,
yeah,
the shift has already started.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, how what you going to name it?
The myth of Chung Lee.
Oh.
What you going to
I
name
don't.
it?
I'm not in China, man. What do you
The
call?
myth. The
What
myth
is
of Mei Ling.
no? What is Miss Ann in China? What do you call her?
The most common, the most common name is April, and April is
Is
fun.
April?
Yeah, it's for a girl.
Wait a minute. That is too funny, man. That's like a black woman named Pearl. Okay, April.
Yeah,
Really?
April. Yeah. Li Chun like is the most common Asian. Li Chun
Okay.
is the most common
Okay.
Asian female
Okay.
name, which means April in English.
Okay. And in other words, basically,
Or spring. I'm sorry, spring.
spring.
But we would equivalent that to April.
Oh, to
Mei
April.
Ling.
Okay. So
But
basically,
the English translation is spring.
so
Mama
so so.
Song.
Oh, good.
I would be like Mei Ling, Chung Lee, Mama Song.
No. We go call her
But
Miss April. We call her Miss
yeah,
April. In English.
yeah.
Okay.
So Chung Li means spring, or
Yeah.
April, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is it's going to take about maybe at least a couple of decades to establish that. Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm trying to get ahead of the curve
Oh,
because it
so
happens. So that's the rest of the day. Just get ahead of the curve,
Mm.
right?
so well, let me ask this, BJS, and to the
Mm-hmm.
panel.
Mm-hmm.
How is this even possible?
Possible like what?
In the sense of trajectory of black wealth, right? They're saying that black wealth will be zero by 2053.
Net wealth. Net
Net
wealth.
wealth. How's
Yes.
that even possible? And
The
that's one.
the erosion. Okay. It had to put in all the people, right? As far as a group, right?
Yep.
Okay. Erosion of housing, erosion of jobs, erosion of investment. Okay.
Yeah, and
The pr-
erosion of value in your home.
Yeah. So it's all that means that will actually lead you to a net zero of wealth or negative.
So this also trickle down to the white side as well, or is that
We don't. The thing is, this is a projection. Yes, it will trickle down. It's already trickled down to the white side. Why do you think they're upset?
I don't know, because because like when we talk about our spending, our trillion, whatever the number is,
Mm-hmm.
theoretically, most of that shit is credit, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
credit and government subsidies.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on what the government,
Yeah.
how generous the government is.
And wealth is always determined about who's evaluating the wealth, right? Why
Yeah,
why
gotcha?
why is your house worth 100,000 and white person's house worth
right.
300,000? Why is
But
that?
Mm,
yeah, but America,
That's how you evaluate wealth. Go ahead.
but the black middle class was hit hard, um, with the 2008. But I will say this. I will say
Mm-hmm.
this right now. If you're black, you have great opportunities to make money abroad, man, especially in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I mean, the whole Marcus Garvey envision,
Mm-hmm.
this would be the time,
Well,
right?
yeah,
The
yeah,
thing about this would be the time.
because they're on the on ramp. Okay,
Right,
Africa just got onto the ramp. Okay,
right, right.
Africa is where China was back in like 1970. Okay, 1975. Okay,
1978, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you're exactly right. When they opened up the economic
yeah,
reform with Deng
yeah,
Xiaoping, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yes, yes,
So that's where they are. We kind of, which is something, I'm not gonna talk about that. We'll leave that because hot sauce is on the line. We're not gonna talk about that.
mhm.
We'll leave that for another day. Um, I mean, but this is something that my group saw back in 2008. Okay,
yeah.
2007, 2008. Okay, about allowing Africa onto the on ramp. Okay.
Yeah, and America's pissed because that's the place they didn't want that
Ooh,
shit to
that
go.
is a story for a different day,
Okay,
and a
okay,
behind the wall talk because
okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
sure. But anyway,
we
guys, my lunch break is over.
okay,
So,
all right, bro, go back and make some money, man.
okay, yeah, man, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Y'all take care.
All right, peace.
Wow. Um, with that being said, BJS.
Uh-huh.
Um, so therefore, this is why, as you said earlier, that even China doesn't want to see this decline, this aggressively in the West.
Yeah, because if okay, because it's just like anything else, man. We're all tied together, just like chained together, right? Throw America overboard. What goes with it? Because you're all
Yeah,
chained together. Okay,
yeah.
everybody's gonna go down. Even Japan, when in the '80s, we're gonna manage your decline. Okay, when they were trying to take over,
Wow.
you can't unless you want to go back into a dark age. You cannot break this thing up. Even what they even what's going on right now, right? Which is with this stuff going on right now, right? With the Biden administration and what's going on with China, they're trying to negotiate a settlement. Okay, how can we make this stuff work? Because America doesn't like it, and China has its own plans. How can we actually come together and settle this so this whole thing doesn't come apart? It coming apart is no good for anybody.
Wow.
You're married. You can't divorce. You're married because
Yeah.
y'all link this stuff together. You're intertwined all these processes together, and the stuff is all over the globe. Okay, you sanction Russian fertilizer, right? What happens all over the world? You get riots all over the world within 2 weeks. Okay,
Yeah.
they try to de-link this stuff, decouple this stuff. What happens? You find out you can't. Okay,
Yeah.
you've already intertwined all these all these industries processes together to actually make them. To have 8 billion people on the planet, which is necessary. What happens when you try to uncouple all this kind of stuff? You're gonna have issues. Okay, so it's like separating Siamese twins that
Yeah.
have all these shared organs. Can you separate them?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can, if it's not too bad, not too intertwined. What happens when you share like a heart or a liver or a stomach or a brain? Can you
Yeah.
separate the twins?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So we're like Siamese twins.
So with that being said, um, and this current situation with Russia, right? Where
Mhm.
it just, I mean, we've talked about this. It seems like Russia is just mopping the floor, right?
You're sending um, a relatively small military country against a superpower. How do you think that's going to turn out?
I totally agree.
In other words, unless, and do they probably weren't going to do it unless you're willing to put NATO troops on the ground, boots on the ground. Okay, this is not going to turn out well.
It's gonna be an ass whooping.
And the thing is that you're lucky that Russia does not want to destroy the country.
It's gonna be a serious ass whooping for Ukraine anytime they want it.
Kiev is only a few thermobaric bombs away from being flattened. Okay, and they know it.
Yeah. They know it's gonna be a Walmart with the largest parking lot in the world.
Yeah, they could do it. They got enough thermobaric bombs to actually flatten Kiev. Okay,
That's
as we
right
speak.
before you go. That's right before you go to nuclear.
Right before you go to nuclear. So the thing is, there are nothing to play with. The thing is, and this is something that's probably been in the news, right? Putin, the first troops in was a show of force, right?
Yeah,
Okay, he got what he wanted. Basically, Zelensky signed the peace agreement, right? In other words, you're not going to join NATO. We're going to back off all this kind of stuff. We're going to demilitarize, right?
yeah.
He got it. Okay. The other people said, okay, Zelensky, this is not what we want. So this is where we are. Zelensky knew that they had no shot. So, so,
So,
eventually they're going to grind you up. The thing is, how fast do they actually want to eat you? I mean, if Russia really fully scaled their whole entire military forces, 5 to 10 million people, this would have been over already.
Man,
But they haven't.
they would have ran wild on them like '80s version of
Yeah,
Hulkamania.
yeah.
They would have been just running wild.
It's running wild. So it's been, and that's what the generals. That's what the generals are pissed off about. Why don't you just go and get this shit over with? But Putin doesn't want to do it that way. That's why the Putin's generals are actually pissed. He wants to do it surgically. Okay, the generals say we have enough weapons to actually flatten this whole country. How can we just go and get this stuff over with? Because it will actually cause more problems than it solves. That's what
You
Putin is saying.
gotta
so,
remember that it's
so why do you think
because
Putin is?
he wants to give them a chance to surrender. He doesn't. It's about image. He wants to look like the righteous leader,
Oh, with
Uh,
and how much does it cost to actually occupy a country?
and you gotta occupy that bitch because
And
now what happens after you face them? The same shit we had in Iraq. You'll get it.
in, in other words, basically, you have a DMZ, so you have to have troops on the border protecting that because it's always going to be contentious. That's a cost that you do not want to bear if you don't have to. It's better for them to go
uh,
ahead and say, "Hey, we're going to be neutral." And that means they don't have to put troops on the border. They don't have to put any kind of military might into it. They don't have to rebuild a whole entire country again. You're saving money that way. Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Military. Charles can tell you, militaries are not cheap.
You know what I said to the CEO of BlurCon?
Hmm.
Protection costs. We're not cheap. We're probably the most expensive on your budget.
Yeah.
That,
Uh,
that
uh,
makes sense.
but it's more expensive if something goes wrong.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why I said you're gonna pay me for all the shit that we had to cover.
You better hope they're not crazy enough, King. Okay.
See, why
Yeah,
they
y'all believe y'all. You think why do everybody think white people have a death wish?
you gotta realize, do you know do you know they have so many checks and balances for nukes, and it's for a fucking reason.
Yeah, yeah. If
Massive checks and
Let's
balances.
let's
Yeah, yeah,
let's volley.
they've caught a whole bunch of broken arrows, man. The military has that some people on the inside have plotted. Okay, I'll tell you this. This is actually in the news, right? This is Israel, right? Okay. Um. Basically, the Knesset of Israel were actually planning a strike against, I think it was Iran. Plan a strike against Iran with nuclear weapons, right?
Mm,
Okay. The military walked in, heard about the meeting, walked in, told them, y'all get the fuck out of here before we actually have to take over the whole government. They walk in, broke up the meeting. Don't do this again. Okay. I know what you're plotting. We heard about you plotting. The military walked in and stopped the meeting
Wow.
with the premier at the meeting. Okay, walked in, broke it up, break this shit up. It's not happening. It was like maybe 15 years ago. They walked in and stopped it. The military is not as crazy as you think they are. Okay.
So within the military itself, they have individuals who are like who oversee like you as you mentioned BGS scenario Israel. If something were to pop off, they automatically have
You
authority to shut
you
it down.
can't you can't basically there's a whole lot of checks and balances in the military before you get to to that kind of decision making uh, uh, office. And if you're nuts or you seem like you're nuts, you will never get that high. A
You
lot
know,
of these guys are very pragmatic people, extremely pragmatic people, a
you,
lot more
you gotta
pragmatic than politicians. Go
you
ahead.
gotta realize something. There's a reason why you have so much of a rank structure all the way up to the joint chairman of the to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, even though they're technically not. They don't have a true command, but nothing goes without their watch.
Mm,
The link is there, Lord Smith. If you really, we've always been close to it. Okay, we've been close to it since you invented the goddamn thing. The thing
There's
is, are they willing to go over the line?
there's always there's always checks and balances. Meaning, even in Iraq, you had checks and balances before you could pull that motherfucking trigger.
Hmm.
mm,
You damn near at times had to wait till the motherfucker shot at you in some cases. So when we look at these checks and balances, the nuclear football, to launch most of your fucking nukes, you need more than one person to activate the code
You need two.
simultaneously.
You need two. Yeah,
And that's minimal too. You
yeah.
might need more.
There's a story. I don't know how accurate it is about a couple of broken arrows that were in 2007. They're actually on a uh, on an airstrip in Louisiana, ready to go
mm.
to Iran. And the captain saw where we were going and said, "What's on this plane?" He found a couple of broken arrows on that plane. He shut it down. He said, "Give me the president before we actually go pull this trigger."
Wow.
Yeah, because you got to think about it. You need you need presidential consent
Mm-hmm.
to do that shit. Like people, you got to think about. There's the reason why Obama turned gray in a matter of fucking 4 years. Okay, the amount of stress that motherfucker was under, like
Shit.
you
And
gotta,
I get, and they're telling me that Biden himself thinks he can do another four.
the amount of stress that you are under militaristically, like there are some people like I'll tell you, man. We'll just go to the police department sometimes. There are times you can do some departments can do things that others can't. You got
Yeah.
a wounded fucking deer on the road, right? Baltimore city limits. We can't shoot it without a supervisor. Or you're gonna have to get the Baltimore watershed police and they cap the motherfucker in the head and put it out of his misery.
Wow.
That's checks and balances people don't even want to know. And you're talking about nukes? Shit.
Okay. I always people think people that say this stuff don't have their shelter, fallout shelter dug. Okay.
And
You
I
just throwing
assume this
around
is,
words. You're throwing
and
around words.
I assume when obviously you have these private military groups or contractors that try to get their hands on uranium and all that other stuff. Um, the United States is like, yo, shut this down, put them down.
Everybody is in on it. It's not just United States. Everybody monitors this stuff. Everybody. I do mean everybody. Could be the
Yeah,
Russians, could be the Chinese, could be the Israelis, could be the Europeans. Everybody monitors this stuff. Everybody.
they have to.
They have to. You don't want some idiot starting a Holocaust, all right? Everybody monitors this stuff.
You'd be surprised how many joint task force between people who are supposed to be enemies that come against these radical fucking terrorists. Notice I didn't say Islam. It
Hmm.
could be radical Christians. You know how many motherfuckers in the Klan were trying
Yeah.
to get their hands on fucking plutonium or uranium Make
And
their
to do what?
to make a dirty bomb
And to do what with it?
and just explode it.
Okay. Well, okay. Well,
And just explode, well, they don't have the sophistication and technology to make a total bona
eh,
fide nuke, but a dirty bomb, oh god.
it's also a death wish because everybody in the world's going to come after you.
Yeah, and
Oh, really?
Yeah.
that's the point that I said. Like, do you know how many countries will set aside their beef to kill you?
Yeah. Yeah.
They will set aside some long generational beef. Like,
They come
damn,
after you. Yeah.
you're gonna have the full. Think about it. You know how the United States is by itself militaristically. Imagine you got 20 fucking countries combined to come after you.
Come after you. Yeah. Nobody's going to harbor you because you're dangerous. Okay.
And then you got 20 fucking countries. Imagine if China and the United States combined their military resources just to come after you from starting World War V.
They will find you. Okay. Let's put it that way.
They
They will
will
find
they
you.
will
They will
they
find
will
you.
gladly put a bullet in. They
Yeah.
got motherfuckers itching to put a bullet in your ass.
Yeah. You will have never existed by the time they finish.
And anyone associated with you will be jailed.
Everybody, they're gonna get it. They will find everybody.
Yeah,
Trust
and
me.
most likely you're not going to jail.
No, you're not.
No,
You will disappear.
you have to go.
Yeah, you're gonna disappear. And now it's even worse because you have artificial intelligence that's monitoring everything now. So
Mm-hmm.
your eyes are getting your hands on stuff like that. It's pretty slim unless you got a whole lot of inside help.
like some James Bond.
If you're one of them kids that see some secret plans from some that no one's supposed to see, delete that shit, man, immediately. Don't pick that stuff up. Okay, because you are the bait. Okay.
Hey, can you hold this briefcase? Fuck you.
No, hell no.
I'll be like telling people. I said no. They were like, hey, I remember this guy was like, yeah, can I leave this bag right here? I'm gonna go to the fuck you, take it with you. They're like, but it's just a bag. Fuck you, take it with you.
Take it with you. And Charles heard me, man. Guys that may be involved, get ready to tell me what I said, man, don't even tell me what you do.
Nope.
Okay. Don't even tell me your real name.
Okay. No, I don't want to know shit.
I don't want no shit.
Ain't coming to me. Like,
Ain't coming looking at me. He said, do you know who is he? What's his real name? I don't know that guy. Well, you talk to him online. Guess what? Go play the tape. Okay. You got the tape. Go play it.
Don't know shit.
I don't know shit. Don't want shit. Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what. There's people forget there are tactical teams just itching for you, dumb motherfuckers.
I said, what do you know about Gerald Bull? Okay, Gerald Bull was assassinated in France by the Israelis. Okay, for actually helping Iraq with the Scuds. That's Gerald Bull, but he's actually assassinated by the Israelis in France, in Paris.
Oh, they sent the Mossad after his ass.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
Here's another question, like not a question, but another statement I'm gonna make. When I was in Colorado, we had different instructors for different reasons.
And we got about 50 more minutes, guys. So
the one female Israeli instructor, she was a part of the equivalent of the American CIA for covert security. The male instructor was the Israeli equivalent of the Navy SEAL. When he said his unit, I was like, that sounds familiar. So I went to Google it. I was like, and I showed him, I said, so you were part of this? He was like, yep. I said, you put a few bodies on the ground, didn't you? Yep. I was like, there's some dangerous people walking the face of the earth. And a lot of you motherfuckers, black people don't even understand how dangerous some of the people in this planet can be. Like, there are some people who are just legitimately fucking dangerous people.
Yeah, they're trained to be. Yeah.
And it's like, these motherfuckers.
We're talking to one of them. Shit.
You
just decide not to be. That's all.
I know nothing.
It's crazy. It's kind of.
We're not gonna bust you completely out, but the thing is, when you told me where you were and what you did, I said, okay, enough said. Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny because one of the guys I showed the guys in Colorado, some of them, my background and what I did in the war.
Your eyes got big, huh?
And they were like, you do know that you don't need the PSD class. I said, I love certification stuff. But they were like, dude, you actually, yeah. And
Yeah.
I said, it's nothing,
Yeah.
just a little rescue.
Yeah. One step below,
Pretty much.
yeah, one step below.
And I work with a couple of the guys you see in certain.
Yeah.
I've worked with missions with some guys who wore a
Yeah.
certain color hat.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
leave it as that.
Yeah. If you didn't have your son, you'd probably be a different person.
I probably would.
Yeah.
I probably would just be coming back to the United States. Pay my
you,
money, kind of retire.
you and a couple other people that kind of frequent this space. Yeah.
It's. I'm surprised people didn't tell me shut the fuck up. Sometimes be like, shut the fuck up.
Nah, well, you know what to say and what not to say, man.
Yeah.
You guys get pretty good at that.
Yeah, there's some shit that I know that I don't mention certain things or certain names of people. I just leave it up for the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you do research on your own, that's on you, nigga.
That's on you. Yeah. Yeah.
I just will tell you this one. I am one of those happy-go-lucky people, just not to make it. And I've said this to a lot of dudes and girls when they actually don't take this shit seriously and put your kids. Well, the military is still strong and it's still vital. A lot of you need to really consider, especially if you're a young man and you don't have the money,
Mm-hmm.
go in.
Yeah, that's what.
Get the
training.
Get the training, even if it's just some root training when it comes to tactical training. Get it, because a lot of people don't understand how much tactical training is, and then some of you. LeVar said Charles is Cree Summers' bodyguard from there.
Man on fire. Okay, you ain't shit.
There was a time a guy. I'll say this at Blair Con. There was a guy reaching in his pockets like he was pulling out something, and the Padawag saw him. So the guy kept reaching deeper and deeper. So he reached for his. He was like, "Oh no, I don't want no problems." I was like, "Nigga, don't do that. You don't know what we got for a reason." And I think it's interesting because you would think there would be a criteria for young boys to learn this paramilitary stuff, since we're already looked at as aggressive and scary.
They don't want too many people having the training. Let's put it that way, because you get too many people with this background, it can be a problem.
Yeah,
you've seen it, especially with the cartels. Charging the price, and brothers is like, all right, I'll train them.
You got to think about it. It's like, here's where the cartels. You didn't hear this from me. This is where a lot of cartels get their training from.
Mm-hmm.
Paramilitary organizations, and a lot of them actually get their training from U.S. military. Why? Because this is the reason why the background checks have become stringent, because of this shit. One, a lot of people don't understand that how many gang members actually get through certain training. Yes, they're very strict,
Mm-hmm.
but there are some people who get through the cracks. Imagine you get a guy who's trained to be an Army Ranger and he comes back to teach his gang these tactics.
Yeah, that's why they track you.
You're gonna have to, because a lot of these guys, get this training, and you never know what affiliations they're gonna have. Like if you're with a white supremacist group or some radical group, they're gonna be on your ass for a minute, and reasonably so.
Yeah, they have a good database of your skills and what they trained you on, and if your name pops up, in a database, and I've had, where I worked, I had a couple people whose names popped up because they did something, and and the judge told him, "I got a call."
Yeah. I'll give you a good example, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had a cop who got involved in a police involved off duty shooting.
Mm-hmm.
They said on the flyer, he's police and military trained, consider him armed and dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And because of his level of training, police and, military background,
Mm-hmm.
they're not sending cops to come get you. They're sending SWAT.
SWAT
Yeah.
team. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's Charles.
I
It's funny
already
you say that they
know
did the same thing with
they sending the whole platoon after my black ass. I know. I know.
what's that brother, the one in BJS, you would know this,
Yeah.
the
I know you're talking
Navy.
about Dorner. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dorner, I have my issues with Dorner
Yeah. That's true.
because he was mentally unstable, one. And two, yes, his gripes might have been valid, but you don't go take it out on somebody's family either. And what happened is that you had a guy who had valid gripes, but
Yeah.
they, instead of taking it out properly, he just went on a spree. So I know I'd probably be like, you're talking wrong about me. Yes, I know. This guy is not right.
Yeah. He could have done more damage if he really wanted to, but he
Yeah,
didn't.
he could have done more. He could have done more. I mean, it's the grace of God that there was a lot more people not killed because of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He could have done more. So whatever he did, it was limited. So
Yeah,
I think he just wanted to make a statement. He didn't want to hurt too many people.
yeah. He
And
just wanted the statement part, and
yeah.
it's there's a such thing that I think that people need to really pay attention to is that one, how many of you actually learn firearms training? Because you should. You
Mm-hmm.
you should take the time to get this training, see what needs to be done. How can you protect yourself? Because a lot of things are changing, especially, people are getting more desperate day in, day out, and I'm not saying it's on the scale of World War III, but you should lobby your politicians about you having the right to carry. It's your American right. It's not a privilege, it's a right. But at the same time, you should actually get the training, proper training to, do it responsibly. And if anybody is in the state of Maryland, hit me up and I will train you in proper.
Yeah. Yeah. From one of the best. So.
So,
Just something that you probably wouldn't be able to get outside of certain networks, okay? Because guys like Charles, you have contacts to actually get to somebody like Charles most times.
yeah. And there's guys that I trained under and I received training. One of them, was a former SWAT sniper and a former Green
Hmm.
Beret.
Hmm.
So I've been trained by some guys.
Hmm. Yeah, and you had field experience, which is even better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait till I'm gonna get the money up to go to another place so I could be a CQB instructor where I'll be able to teach executive protection,
Mm-hmm.
protective, security details, live fire shoot house,
Yeah.
and
Yes. So we're gonna see Charles on the next version of Extraction, huh?
oh yeah, we're gonna be on Charles Faulkner. I want the '90s guy. I want the guy from the '80s and '90s to do my shit, Charles Faulkner.
Faulkner. In
They
Extraction.
did Extraction 3. They should have left him the fuck alone with his cognac cigars.
I got a question for you, BJS.
Okay, we got about 8 more minutes, but go ahead.
Um, I had a debate with a fellow colleague of mine about um, American economics, right?
Okay.
Why do you think so many people hold on to these old narratives, meaning where, like, when I say old narratives, like the system, right?
Okay.
Values and these old pragmatic concepts.
Give me an example.
Like, for instance, so we were talking about real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this concept where it's like, oh, real estate will never lose value, right?
No, that's not
Yeah.
true, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was like this person that was having this debate was so hardwired,
Okay.
right? and I'm sitting there like, you really just, it's like they're holding on to something, right?
Okay.
And I'm wondering why is that, especially, and there was a brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think we as human beings and our community hold on to these things where
It's
they
not. It's
can?
not. It's not just us. All human beings do the same thing, right?
Okay,
It's called faith. Okay.
okay,
You have to faith in the system because your whole entire portfolio, your whole entire worldview depends on that system. So you're actually going to hold on to it.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's real or not, or accurate or not. I mean, in most times it is. But what happens when it isn't?
I see. Because I brought up to him the obviously we talk about this,
Mm-hmm.
robotics, AI,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed like it just blew over his head. Like he just didn't want to hear that, right?
He's not ready to. He's not ready to receive it yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hmm.
And somebody asked me a question,
Go ahead.
King
No.
Hazen. Charles,
Oh,
what's your opinion on Border Patrol? What do you like? What do you mean exactly? What's my opinion? I mean, they're needed. They're part of Homeland Security. They guard the borders, both north and south.
it's
East.
a good government job.
It's a great government job. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're bilingual, you pretty much sign your own damn check.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You're federally recognized because, like, for example, I'm kind of jealous of my ex. You probably heard of one of your last streams. Shut up, BGS. But
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
she was in the Coast Guard,
Mm-hmm.
and the Coast Guard, which is sort of a DOD, but it's really Department of Homeland Security. If you're a part of the Coast Guard, I mean, it's a great career. You can go one for one for the ATF and other alphabet agencies because you're part of that circle
Yeah, you are.
compared to other military branches. And the Coast Guard is the only branch of military that can board ships and arrest people. Oh yeah, I'm so jealous. If I would, I don't regret being an army guy, but if I knew I was going so heavy into law enforcement and the security gig,
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have switched over to Coast Guard eventually because it would have worked so well.
Yeah. Oh, the Coast Guard is actually it's actually a very, very good career.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Maritime shipping, uh, you
Drug
know,
interdiction.
drug addiction, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
And by the
That's what.
way, here's a little thing that I'm gonna piss off a bunch of Marines in the chat. Did you know when they had the top sniper, the best sniper shootout? The Coast Guard have better snipers than the Marines
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They
because
do.
they got to shoot. You got to think in a helicopter, which is going
Yeah,
forward,
aerial
Okay.
assault.
shooting go fast boats. They're shooting a 12 by 12-inch box from a
Mm-hmm.
helicopter.
Mm.
Hmm. They do. They have their own specialized unit that actually handles a lot of the drug trafficking through the boats. I forget what it's called. I took a class with one of their that
You got a
particular
lot of
group.
people. You
Yeah,
got people within Haida and shit. So
yeah. They definitely, especially I would say the Coast Guard, their specialized unit. I would say they're number one when it comes to getting on boats and really putting that work in.
they put in some work, man. They put in that work.
Yeah.
Like,
Truth be told, would you agree with this, Charles? I think they handle most of the drug trafficking um, on the coastal lines.
they have to a
Yeah.
certain degree. I say these are two things that happen. Major police departments like Baltimore, New York, and anybody who's on the coast or LA on the other coast
Mm-hmm.
and Miami, of course.
Miami, yeah.
But they handle. You got to think if we didn't have a Coast Guard, your streets would be flooded with this shit.
Oh
Oh, yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
The
Cool.
Coast Guard prevents a lot of this shit from coming into your streets, and God knows you don't want to see what what happens.
This, this
When you
should
see
look like this.
such crime.
It
Yeah.
look like the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it's worse than 80. They're covering this stuff up. Okay.
yeah, they're stopping a lot of this shit. Probably, I remember in Baltimore, one of the ports, they found over $1 billion worth of fucking fentanyl.
Whew.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, closing thoughts, folks. We had almost at 2 hours.
Always a good time, BGS. Woo! Don't forget to
Nice.
like, share, subscribe, and
Yeah, put your channel in the chat, Charles.
All right, we're gonna put the channel in the chat, nigga. But
Yeah, nigga, pimp that channel, motherfucker.
yeah, and it's and for those who's looking for firearms instructions and all that, hit me up. I'm gonna put my channel in there, and I'm gonna also put my email address. So if any serious inquires.
Yeah.
Here's another question. What's my opinion on Sergeant Dorsey? Little do you know, a lot of you don't know I was actually on Sergeant Dorsey's show
Oh, really? Okay.
at one time, and
Oh,
I don't think she likes me much
okay. Yeah, well, she's a black woman, so she's a gynocrat. So there's that.
because I
You
checked
know,
a few things, and
Dorsey's still
and
out here stunting.
and it's
But
funny.
go ahead.
She tried to tell me about some stuff with police departments. I said, yeah, there's some racism with police
Oh,
departments, but
there's a lot.
the
Well,
more
in LA, there's a lot. You know, a lot more than Baltimore. Yeah.
I said, you got to remember, there's a lot in Baltimore because it's an old ass department, but here's the fact of the matter is that the more you have of us in these departments, the better we'll be.
And that I've heard from a lot of black policemen that said exactly the same thing. It's
And if you
exactly the same thing.
and if you don't join these departments like the military, you're going to get the same treatment. You're going to get
Yeah.
the same harassment. And I told her that. And I said, hey, next time you want me on, she hasn't called me back since. That's been 3 years. But
Hmm.
and I said that I am in Baltimore. I
Yeah.
know what you
Yeah,
know.
but she has a big media presence, and she has to be more liberal and
Yeah.
To be
more of that kind of stuff.
liberal.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
be as controversial. So yeah,
uh,
you will fuck up her flow. So
yeah, but fuck up her money.
yeah, hey, I'm saying don't let nobody fuck up your money.
Don't let nobody fuck up your money. I
Yeah,
understand.
and don't let nobody fuck up your money or eat your cornbread.
Well, no, there's consequences and repercussions of that. Uh,
Any anyway, closing thoughts, folks.
Um.
that's my channel and that's my email. So if you need any protection, security, or any type of firearms training, hit me up. That's my email. Serious inquires only.
Hmm.
If you need training or backing or knowledge of how to get your private detective and your security clearance, I do that.
Somebody said it's challenge day.
It's challenge day. When's Madden? See, I'm gonna have to do you like they do in Street Fighter with Bison. Face 3 niggas and beat them. Then you come to the master.
Yeah. Mark from Antler is too fine of Sergeant Dorsey. I like her because she got big titties. That helps.
You like great random titties. That's why, nigga.
Ooh, them titties are big. I like Sergeant Dorsey with them big ass titties, but I understand she's pro-black. She's got to make her money. She got to make her round, so she can't be too controversial. So
She
there's
got
that.
he'll be on that shit when Sergeant make
But
that money.
Sergeant Dorsey, if you ever want to handle one of them titties, I'm your man. All right.
BGS said he is certified in protecting titties.
Care and feeding. Okay.
Hey, Tim,
Big,
how you doing today?
Anyway, closing thought, James.
yeah, I'll just say thank you as always, man. I have one thing I want to ask you pertaining to this. How segregated is it, law enforcement wise, on the West Coast, California? Since you from
Oh man, it's like how
historically.
historically it's been basically they force you to mix in because they don't really want an all black police force, right? So
Mm,
it's very integrated because white folks don't trust you by yourself out there. So integrated.
mm,
They're gonna go leaps and bounds. Like Baltimore is roughly 70% black, but you have 48% of your police are white.
Yeah,
The other 40% are black, and then the little trinkles of percentages other.
yeah,
I still laugh at that percentage. Like, how the fuck can we? How the fuck do we
yeah.
still have the majority of?
But in LA, there are basically they will mix you in because they do not trust you. Okay, so
mm.
and that's the biggest problem. There's not enough of them. So and they're surrounded by white folks, and that's the biggest
Wow.
problem about black police officers. And they will not send you to a black area. They actually send you to white areas,
Wow.
and it's sending white folks to black areas because they don't trust you. That's what I would say about LAPD and the sheriff. Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
hear
heard
I
about.
hear,
I
I
heard their
hear that
sheriff department is
I
going.
hear that
They,
I hear
I
that
get
from
it. You talking 30 years.
I hear that all the time from cops and people that work inside the department. They have to go to shrinks to actually be able to withstand the kind of racist pressure that they're under
wow.
because they are surrounded and because they are forced to mix and the stuff they have to go through. Sergeant Dorsey probably could tell you about that. I don't know if she ever said that, but I'm sure she kind of I'm sure she if she got stories that she doesn't tell.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
about white folks and but the thing is there is no segregated police department in LAPD. Black folks they will your first partner will not be a black partner. It's going to be an old white man. Okay, you're gonna
Mm.
mix.
An
Okay,
old white man, or at least an Hispanic they can trust.
yeah, you don't even you might see a Hispanic team now, but the thing is even the Hispanics have to mix. Your first partner is always going to be white. I want to make sure that you get um, how can I say taught properly.
I see what you're saying.
Acclimated. Hey, hey,
Acclimate.
hey. You
Because I
treat
That
know.
that black guy with respect.
Yes, sir. Yes,
if
sir.
that answers your question.
No, that makes sense. Because I was seeing the recent with the LA Sheriff's Department going through a lot of scrutiny with their certain divisions. I would say getting a little out of hand. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna see white folks in their secret whatchamacallit, but thing is that they can have our white partners, but thing is you as a black person, you have to integrate into that. Okay.
Wow.
There's not gonna be an all black in fact, black folks are actually calling for that more all black police officers in black areas. But the thing is
You
that
know what?
yeah, go ahead.
Two black cops in one car. You filming a Tarzan movie at that point, nigga. I mean, it looks like Shaka Zulu. Oh
It's
my
a
god,
revolution. And say, wait a
it's a
minute.
revolution.
And we going they're gonna
It's
probably
like
gonna they're probably gonna paint a panther on the side of your car. Okay.
put a black fist up with a Pafro pick. Oh my god, oh my god. Can we?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, can Shaka Zulu come down to Hollywood and Vine?
Yeah,
God damn.
it's very complex in LA as far as the police is concerned.
Wow.
That's why I have a respect for Charles and Baltimore. No matter what they say about them. In LA, LA does a lot more damage to black people in LA with the
Oh
LAPD
wow.
compared to Baltimore. Baltimore is very kind compared to LAPD. Okay, they'll
Wow.
fight.
Yeah, we'll both,
They'll
we'll,
they'll beat they'll
we'll,
beat they'll beat your ass. They won't shoot you. Okay.
we'll fuck you up really nice. I mean, the quicker fuck you up, but
Yeah, but you
we'll
go
try not
home.
to shoot.
But you will go home. Yeah.
LA ain't that.
Man, okay.
And
They've calmed down since it's been gentrified, and you don't have as many black areas as you used to. So they really calmed down. But the thing is, everybody knows, man. Don't challenge
I've
the LAPD, you will get
I,
popped.
I've heard. I heard when it's like it's. Was it? I think when they had All Star Weekend out there, when they said it was 2 o'clock, everybody go home.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They
Oh yeah. You
cracked
go
that
home.
motherfucker whip.
Oh yeah. Especially down by the Staples Center. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they. I
Certain
heard they
areas.
were.
Yeah. Especially if
Yeah.
the Mexican went off after the I think the Lakers won a championship and they were burning, uh, having bonfires, jump on bonfires and shit.
Oh,
And
I
said,
heard
"Oh,
they were
yeah,
tearing
they were
ass
wild.
up.
They were wild." And said, "Oh, this will not happen again." And Paul, you hear Paul? You know how it is, man. You know how it is in LA. Anyway, all right, y'all.
Thanks a lot,
Let's
BJS, as
bounce off of
always.
Later,
here.
folks.
All
Woo!
right, all right, Mongo. All right, let me thank a couple of people as far as cash apps are concerned. Um, Trauma Supreme, appreciate you. Michael, appreciate you. And Gregory, appreciate you. I think that's all of them. Okay. For a pop up, appreciate you guys. But I'm gonna jump off of here, and I will see you guys tomorrow if I can think of a topic. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. So peace out.